Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. Welcome to another Getting to Know TalentLMS. We are here to share everything you need to get started with TalentLMS, how to create, and of course, how to deliver successful training. Let's get started. We have a lot to talk about today. I'm Theo. I'm part of the customer enablement team, and I'll be hosting the session today alongside my good colleague, Eirini.
Hello, everybody. My name is Eirini, and I'm a customer enablement consultant. And I'm here with Theo to help you get started with TalentLMS and deliver successful training.
And Eirini will share a lot of good tips in a moment. But first, let me remind you this. This session is recorded, so you will receive the recording once the session is over. And of course, we encourage you to share it with anybody who wants to get started with TalentLMS. And this is broadcasted live, so we will be able to answer your questions as we go. So use the Q&A button that you see in the meeting controls and share your question with us. It can be any question about TalentLMS, so feel free to ask anything you want. We will do our best to answer as many questions as possible live during the session and at the end. And of course, behind the scene, our good colleague Nick also will do his best to answer as many questions online as well. So send them over and we'll do our best to catch up with everybody. Now, what we will cover today, we have a lot to talk about. First of all, we'll see how you can create blended courses and share them with the users. And then we will see how you can configure and organize your account so you have everything on point. Of course, we are here to show you how to measure your training success and your progress through reports. And lastly, again, we are here to answer any questions. So just, go crazy on the Q&A button if you want, and we will do our best to answer. Before we get to how TalentLMS works, let's see what TalentLMS is, right? Some of you here might be just opening TalentLMS for the very first time. TalentLMS is an award-winning cloud learning management system, and it's very popular among our clients for employee training, so they can train their own staff, for customer training, and for partner training. And I'm going to give you a hint here. This is something that you can do from the same platform for all of the audiences that you want. And then TalentLMS is easy to use. It is intuitive, very customizable, and you will be able to set it up and run at no time. And lastly, we have a lot of happy customers here. So if you want to be part of the 70,000 plus teams that find success through TalentLMS, definitely keep watching because this webinar is exactly for you. So if you're ready, let's get started. And what I need to do first is show you how a TalentLMS portal looks like. When you first go and get invited onto a TalentLMS platform, you will see the homepage. So now at this point, this is a fully customizable homepage that you have. And that's a chance where you can really incorporate your branding. You will be able to just see different sections, courses, videos, but most importantly, you will be able to just log in right here. So click on login, and from there, you can just log in as a learner. I know that you now hear me repeating this, but it is at this point a live session, so we might have these little tech accidents here. So when you log in as a learner, you see the courses that you have been assigned to. So all the courses that somebody has invited you to take, or the courses that you have received from the catalog yourself, you will be able to see them on the spot. And if you want to explore more courses, definitely just go to the course catalog. And from there, you can select what you would like to see. For instance, customer service applied courses. And you can click and see the information of the course. And of course, get the course. And that will be added on your learner's view. Now, I hope that helps. And I know that I don't want to push the tech boundaries here. So I'm going to pass the mic to Eirini to show you how to create a course.
Thank you, Theo. So let me just share my screen. Now, you can see right now that I'm logged in as an admin. Admins and instructors can create courses. Of course, instructors are responsible for putting content into courses, but I'm sure most of you are here admins. So let's take a step back and see how we can start working with the course from the admin dashboard. So I'm just going to click Add Course here. And the first thing that we see is the course setting page. So from here, we need to fill in some basic information about our course. I'm going to start with the name, onboarding hybrid hires. Of course, we can also upload an image here that would be the thumbnail of our course. And we can also assign it in a category. The categories are basically what the users can see in the course catalog, and they're very helpful because they can filter the courses. So I'm just gonna select this one. Of course, there's a description where we can write some information about our course. For example, what's the benefits of this course, who the instructor might be, how much time they will need to allocate from their calendars to complete this course. So I'm just going to add this simple description here. And moving a little bit here, we can see the course code. Now, by default, the courses are displayed for the learner alphabetically, depending on the name. But if you create course codes by adding letters or numbers or a combination of both, then those courses will be sorted out alphabetically based on the course code. A little bit further down, the time options. If you have time-sensitive courses, you can either add a date here as the expiration date that will basically expire the course, or use the time limit to set the time frame that will that you need in order to create this course. In both cases, we will end up having expiration dates that will not allow the users to access the courses anymore if they don't manage to complete them on time. And of course, the certificate, this is where you can add the certificate to your courses. So I'm just gonna select this one. Of course, there's also a preview button if you want to follow up on that. And if the repetition is needed, you can set up a certificate duration. We have a list of options here for you. Let's go for the 6 months. And of course, by the time you set up a certificate duration, an automation will show up here in order to reassign the course on certificate expiration or prior that and save time. Now, once we're done with this page, I'm going to click Save. And on the next page, this is where I can add users in a course level. Of course, when it comes to learners, it's always a great idea to do that after you have finalized the course. But when it comes to more instructors, yes, you can definitely do that and give access rights to more instructors, and they can help you out editing the course. So I'm just going to find Theo here and add him. So you see, he got the role instructor. So now he has access in my course and he can help me out. Now, let's get into the content part. So I'm just going to click this button here. And this is the area where I will be adding my content. A course is made out of units, and the user should complete those units to get to the end of it and get the certificate we just added. You can simply add users by drag and drop. So I'm just going to drop a presentation here. So dropping it like this, or you can use the add button and start adding one by one videos, presentations, images, PDFs, and so on. Now, by the time I dropped my file, the edit button is here. So if I click it, I can change the name, of course, and I can also set up the completion method. It could be a complete button, it could be a question, or it could be a time frame, a time limit that will prevent the user to move on into the next unit unless the time limit is over. And of course, if I click Save and View, every time on the next page, I will have a preview of that unit. So this is my presentation pretty much. So let's go back into the course and see how we can add a video. We can still drag and drop, as I mentioned. We can also add the video from here, but I'm not gonna, waste your time by waiting for the video to upload. I'm gonna show you a really cool trick that we have that will allow you to recycle your content. So I'm talking about the clone functionality, which will allow you to clone a unit, create basically an independent unit here. So I'm just gonna select the course and select the unit like this and hit the clone button. And of course, since this is a replica of the original unit, the edit button is here that will allow me to edit the name, edit the completion methods, and all that. Of course, when it comes to uploaded videos, because as you can see, apart from uploaded videos, we can also upload YouTube links. Specifically for the uploaded videos, we have some options here, like the autoplay or the show captions. But if you select the after a period of time as the completion method of this unit, we get two more. The synchronized timer with video that will basically synchronize the time limit here with the timer of the video, and the auto pause video when changing tab that will basically prevent the user to move the video forward or move away from this tab to watch something else and then come back. The video will pause and it will continue from the second it was paused. So it's not possible for them to move on. They need to watch the entire thing. So I'm just going to click save and back into the unit list. No need to preview anything at this point. Now, another thing that we can do is evaluate the users. So I'm just going to add the test, which is a really popular method of evaluating the users, because this way you can create an automated test where the users will know right away the results, and they will know if they have passed the course on the spot or not. So let me just copy really quick my question. And as you can see, since it's a unit, we need to give that unit a name. So I'm just going to name that quiz. And here on the side, we have the different type of questions that we can add in our test. And of course, we can combine multiple choice with fill in the gap and free text and so on. So let me start with a multiple choice. And I'm just going to paste my question here. Of course, the edit bar is here to format the question. And I'm just going to type the answers like this. And of course, we need to check which is the correct answer. Click the save button, and that's it. Now, this question is being added in our test. And this is how we can keep up adding questions, but it's all about saving time. So if you have questions from other tests, from other courses that you can recycle, so questions from all courses, get, let's say, this question. Randomly, I'm just adding a question here. Let's pretend that it is related to my course. And right now, I just have two questions. Now, there's some sort of options that we can customize for our test. For example, we can add a duration, let's say 1 minute, or we can change the passing score, let's say 60%. And of course, more options here related to repetitions, completion, security, description, and so on. So let's click Save and View and follow up on the test right away. Our test contains 2 questions, 1 minute to complete it. And if we start the test, we're going to submit the answers like that. You see the timer here. And there it is. There is the results. I've passed the test. If I didn't pass the test, I would have the score here. And if you had a loud repetition, that option would be available here. Now, if you want to explore more about the tests and about the assignments, which is also another method to evaluate the users, or if you want to get in depth about different type of units that you can add, on the chat right now, you can see a link for a webinar completely dedicated to creating courses in TalentLMS, where we literally push every single button there in the course creation process. So, Theo, I think that it's a great opportunity for us to have a Q&A. What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. So let me just share with you a couple of questions that came up from the chat. So Amy is asking, can I create my own category?
Yes, you can definitely create a category as long as you have administrator rights, because the categories is a feature only accessible from admins. So if you're just an instructor, you will need to attend to an admin. But if you have administration rights, so let me switch really quick as an admin. This is the feature that you're looking for. Click Add Category. Just give your category a name and click the Add button. Or if you want to create subcategories, just make sure that you will select the parent one from here. Now, once you click Add Categories, Add Category, the list of categories will be showing up like this. And if you want to follow up how these categories look on your course catalog, the course catalog button is here that will take you there, so you can have a quick look of your categories and the subcategories and then make any further adjustments.
Brilliant. And there's another question from Erin. So Erin is saying, Theo showed the course catalog. Do all learners have access to the full course catalog, or do they only have access to the courses they have been assigned? So can we hide it or not really?
So the thing with Talent LMS is that you can definitely assign courses within the platform to your learners, but you can also allow them to pick courses on their own. By default, when you start with Talent LMS, a learner has full permissions, which means that they also have access to your course catalog. So if you want your users to, if you want to make sure that your learners have access to your course catalog and pick courses on their own, just make sure to go to the user types, select your learner type. So I'm clicking this and make sure that this option here is checked. If you remove this option, then the course catalog button is not visible on the learner's dashboards. Therefore, they cannot access the course catalog anymore. Now, what if, however, you have the course catalog available, but you also want to hide some courses from the learners? What you need to do is get into the course setting page of the course. So I'm just going to click edit to the course we created together, click edit course, and make sure that, of course, your course will be active in case you want to assign it individually to some users. And check this box that will basically keep your course active, but also hidden from the course catalog. Therefore, whoever has access to the course catalog from your learners will not be able to locate this course, but you can still assign it individually to users. I hope this helps.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much for that, Eirini. Now, there is a lot of demand here. I can see in the Q&A from lots of you to see how you can use AI and how you can have interactive type of content. And somebody mentioned, Talent LMS plus beta and especially Talentcraft. So I'm going to promise you this one. Let's leave 5 minutes to the end so that way I can show you a quick overview of Talentcraft and the AI capabilities. So stay tuned. Let's talk a little bit about the admin side of things. And then I promise you, I will do a very quick demo of Talentcraft and the AI capabilities. So stay tuned. And again, that's a live webinar. We respond to exactly what you're asking. So I'm going to keep that to the end. But for now, let me share my screen once more. And I hope now you can see it. And if you don't, again, just let me know, but I think you can. So at this point, what you will see is the admin dashboard. So the admin dashboard is where you control everything in TalentLMS. And the first thing that we have to do is start with the account settings. So I'm going to go here as an administrator, of course, on account settings. And you will start with customization, your logo, your favicon, and of course, you can change the locale settings as well here. And I think that somebody asked the question as well. I'm afraid I cannot recall your name. Yeah, that was JB, I think, on how to change the date and time onto an American format. So this is where you do it. You can do 12-hour formats and the date. I think this is actually the American format here. So month, date, and year. So that's a question as well. Now, in the basic settings of the account settings panel, all the way down, we have the custom user fields, which is highly recommended to check in while you set up your account. So at this point, you can add extra information to user's profile. Especially, you can create a field about anything you would like to have your users declare as they complete their profile. It can be location, department, manager, title, literally anything you want. Just add a field, just call it anything. For instance, that could be team leader, maybe. So that way they can declare who they report to. And then, of course, you have lots of different types of options as the type. But most importantly, you can make it mandatory or not, visible reports or not, and your people can definitely add more and more information based on the fields that you create. Very useful, especially if you want to transfer information from your old system, old LMS system, and you migrate, so that way you can capture all of the different user profile details you had. Now, of course, save, and then all the way up again, and let's talk a bit about the homepage. You remember I showed you at the beginning, or I tried at least, I showed you at the beginning the homepage. So how do we build it? This is the entry point, the login page for anybody. So it is consisted of sections where you can click, and then you can import your banner, your text, your ad media. You can just copy paste, type on top, anything you want to click, enhance pretty much the branded experience that you offer to your users. And talking about users, of course, how do they sign up? There's a couple of different sign up options that we can share. First of all, manually, which means that you have to do the job. So manually is the responsibility of the administrators to add the users. You can do a mass import, of course, and of course you can add them one by one. And for those that might be wondering, yes, you can also continue manually adding users, but at the same time, allow them to directly sign up themselves as well. So here, you can allow them to directly sign up. So they create their own profile. You give them power to do that. They don't have to depend on you to add them. And of course, you have different verification types that you can choose just to make sure that that's the right person on the right place. But what about customization? Well, we have themes. So here you can continue the white labeling of your portal. We have lots of different themes, but of course you can create your own. So save as new, give it a name, and of course you will find it into the list right here. If I want to choose a custom theme, for instance, maybe not my brightest example, I was pushing random buttons here, but at any given point, you have the option to go on the drop down and change any type of color or any option that is available there. Of course, if you feel adventurous, CSS, JavaScript, you can always just work on that. Now, certificates. Again, somebody asked about certificates. I think it might have been Peter. If not, pardon me, somebody else might have asked about it. But there is a question about how to add custom certificates. You can. And certificates are given at the end of the courses, of course, if you choose to give a certificate at the end of the course. It's not mandatory, but it's a good idea, especially if you have a course that concludes a type of training, or if you have compliance training that people need to prove through a certificate that they have taken a training. So quick and easy, upload your background, just drag and drop it like I've done right here. And then in the template option, you can alter what the text here indicates. I know that that looks like code, but you don't really have to worry about it, because if I want to say, instead of certification, if I want to say accreditation, for instance, and that could be, for instance, this award is given to, and of course, you can definitely get more creative here. You have the option to really change what the certificate says and use the placeholders that you see underneath. So successfully completed the course, you have the course name here, and I can say bye and click, for instance, the instructor name, so it will show who created the course. I'm sure you can always play around with this and give it a try, but whatever you do, save as new, give it a name, and that would land into the list of certificate templates that you have right here. And one other very important feature, especially to boost adoption and engagement, and pretty much just make sure that you motivate people to take more training and just keep on learning. That's gamification. So there you have it. You can switch it on or you can switch it off. And that is an account-wide setting. So it will affect everybody in the account. If it's on, you can give points to people. So when somebody logins, 20 points just for saying hi and showing up. But when somebody wins a certificate, 300 points are a good addition to the score. But of course, you can always play around with the settings. At the end of the day, save your settings. And the most important thing that you have to remember is the leaderboard. Whatever you choose here to show on the leaderboard will be seen as a learner. I'm going to switch right there. And you can see all of your statistics in the micro statistics bar, but you can always click on the points and see your points in comparison with others, your levels, your badges, and how to collect points, which is a cheat sheet if you want on how you can increase your points and get first on gamification. It's a fun little game which only gets utilized if you keep on learning. So for engagement reasons, definitely that's something we suggest to use. Now, two more features, and then we'll go again into your questions. So what are the main features that will help you to deliver training through TalentLMS in different audiences? Let's say you have your distributors, your partners, your vendors, your own internal people, some people who speak different languages as well. Well, everything can be accommodated under the same roof, under the same account. The key feature for that is branches. And if you have a plan which has branches as one of its features, or if you're exploring Talent LMS as your solution for your LMS platform, consider using branches and using a plan who supports that, because it will give you the option to have independent training environments that will have their own users, their own courses, and of course will not interact with each other. So you don't have to get 3 subscriptions, you just get one with branches as a feature, and there you have everything under the same account, but in different environments altogether. So I'm going to show you this example. We have vendor and supplier here. So let's pretend that we are a company who provides training to their distributors, the vendors, the suppliers, so that way they will become experts on your product and shared with their customers. So first, you create a branch for them, and you see that the branch has its own unique link. So now there's this dedicated link for them to log in. And then, of course, you can even give it a different theme. You can always share a different logo with that branch, different localization settings. So remember, I said you can also train people in different language. So if your people speak Spanish, you can create a Spanish branch with courses in Spanish that will allow you and them to take training comfortably. I'm going to switch to English though, because my Spanish is not good enough to get me out of trouble, just to get me in. But other than that, you have the option to have separate user settings here. So maybe you manually add people in your account. Here you allow them to directly sign up. And of course, you have lots and lots of different options that you can use to save here. Don't forget, there is a lot of customization options here. You can add a custom homepage. You can add, of course, users in your branch. So I can add Sasha Gomez here as well and Keith Richardson. And those people in the branch will have access to their dedicated content only in the branch. So they will not be able to see anything on your main account unless, of course, you want them to, and you allow them to do that as well. Definitely, there's a lot of conversations that we can have about branches, but that is just a starting point to, get your mind taken here. Courses, you can always just add or remove maybe courses from a branch. Maybe they're not relevant to these people anymore. So think of branches as a way to differentiate the training environments of different audiences and not have them interact with each other. But how do we give courses to people? Well, we can do it through groups. Groups is a feature that will allow you to mass assign courses to people. And groups can be in your main account if you're also going to use it for training, or you can have groups within branches and they can be used only within the boundaries of a branch. The choice is yours. If we get to the groups here, you will see lots and lots of different groups. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one with you on the side. Let's call it new hire training or just new hires. And you just add the group. And then what we recommend as a tip here is to go first to the courses. Now, once we add the courses, then we can decide who's going to take those, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple of courses here. And you will see that now I'm clicking random buttons. But again, this is just an example. And once you have declared which courses you want to have in that group, just move onto the users tab. Now, you can add yourself if you want to, but I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to add other people as well. And all you have to do once you have decided who's going to be taking those courses, remember, mass actions and enroll the users in the group courses right here. Now, once you do it, you see 6 users are enrolled in those courses, and all of my users here have all 7 out of the 7 courses. Where do the courses show up? Of course, in the learner's dashboard, so that way they can go and take them right away. I can understand that there's a lot to clear about branches and groups, and that is something that it's what we call a hot topic here. So on the chat right now, you should be able to see a webinar which is called Organizing Your Portal, and that is a webinar that we recommend to have a look at, share with the people in your organization who's going to work on your platform, and clear a lot of different scenarios and lots of questions about branches and groups. But Eirini, do I have any questions from today about branches and groups, or any questions really?
Yes, you do have one question. The first one is going to be really quick. And it is related with branches. So let me just get it for you. Um, it was related with gamification and branches. So let me uh, find that. Um, it was related with gamification. If it's possible to enable or disable the gamification to branches, I'm looking in for it. But in the meantime, can you give us the answer here?
Yes, I can 100%. So, yes, what I said before, if I go back to the gamification settings in the main portal, is that this is a global setting, as we call it, right? So it's either on or it's off. But as you said, there is a workaround that we can use so that way people in the branch won't use gamification without affecting anybody else in any other branch or in the main account. And that's about user types. So if I go to create a brand new user type, and let's call it branch member, for instance, then I want them just to be a learner, right? So I'm just going to take all of the learner options here. Just untick gamification right there, which means that they will not even see their leaderboards because it's hidden as something that they can access. So at this point, yes, and of course I have to select here learner. You see, it doesn't even allow me to do a mistake. So at this point, if you untick gamification, yes, people in that branch, provided that you will assign that user type to the people in the branch. For instance, if I go right here, if I go to my vendor and supplier, and make the default user type not the learner now, but the branch member because it's the learner without the gamification ticked, then the people in that specific branch will not be able to see any leaderboard. So that's the workaround that I would suggest.
That question was from Jorge. So there is an additional question about the gamification from Erin. Can gamification be limited to results within a specific group? So the new hires group only sees members of that group on the leaderboard?
Well, Erin, that's a really good suggestions because the quick answer is no. Uh, Gamification can be only achieved either on your main portal or on the branch level. So yes, people within the branch, they will only see results and compare their points, badges, levels with the people in the same branch. And people on the main portal, we will do it with people in the main portal, pretty much everybody. So not with groups, but that's a great suggestion for a product team. But again, one more disclaimer here. If you would like, send us an email at success@talentlms.com and tell us about what you mean by groups, because maybe your groups can become branches and then you can have the independent environments. If you're offering internal training and your groups are your departments, finance, engineering, support, anything else, then they don't really need to see each other training, right? So you can create branches based on department, and then they will play along with each other and not with people from across the board. Just an educated guess here, but you see where I'm going with this one. One last question, Eirini.
There is actually two that we can combine in one, and it's related to live sessions. The first question is from Jordan. Is there a way to make interactive content to my trainees? And the other one is from Sibyl. Is it also possible to give a live session on the platform?
Yep, got you. So the first question about the interactive training, if you're talking about live sessions as a form of interactivity, the answer is yes. So you can do live sessions. If you go to the account settings first, you can integrate with your meeting provider. So if you're using Zoom, Teams, go to meeting, webinar training, or Big Blue Button, you can integrate your own account there. If not, we still have the option to use an integrated video conference. But of course, what we recommend is to integrate your own tool so your learners don't have to learn something new. Once you do that, yes, you can do live sessions as an instructor. So if I go into one of my courses, I can add an instructor-led training session here, and I can give it a name. So that's going to be live training, and I can pick a date. For instance, let's say Tuesday. I'm clicking on Tuesday and call it, let's call it meeting. I know it's not the most creative thing, right? And of course, you can adjust the start time, dates, and so on. The most important part is go to webinar, tick the option there to trigger the integration, add your session, and then of course, just save and view. Now, this is part of your course. You see the unit being added here. People can register And once the time has come for them to join, that join button will be activated. Now, there is an entire webinar about this. I'm going to dig into the resources and share it on the chat as well. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. But if you're talking about interactive training in a different format, stay tuned to the end where I'm going to show TalentCraft and how you can create that type of content. So, Eirini, is it time for notifications?
Yes, it is time for notifications, and you don't need to do that digging in the resources. I just posted everything in the chat about the live sessions. So just to, save us some time here. So
Perfect.
let me share my screen one more time, and I'm already logged in as an admin again. I hope that you see my screen. So let's check on the notifications. So I'm gonna click here, and instead of creating a new notification to explain you further the functionality, I'm gonna use a notification that I already have here, so we can buy us some time. Now, the notification is a feature that will allow the admins to save time from communicating with the learners. They're basically emails that will be sent out to users when the event that is associated to that email is triggered. So you can find the list of events here. You can go through and see events related to users, related to courses, live sessions, certificates, gamification, and you can also check on the recipient list here, because it's not only the related user, it's also account owners, super admins, course instructors, and so on. So it all depends on the email that we want to send out. So select the event, select the recipient, and write your email template here. And of course, we have the smart tags. The green smart tags already exist in the system. The blue smart tags are basically my custom user field. So if you want to populate information on your notification, you can definitely use them. So just to give you an example, this is a notification that is being triggered whenever I create as an admin a user in the system, and basically welcomes the user within the portal. Is being sharing the username and the password. It's giving more instructions of how to handle the portal. And another thing, when it comes to notifications, you can create a different notification under the same event, but with a different recipient. So at the same time, for the same event, you can save time and notify two different people by the time, for example, you create a user in here. Now, okay, so we have set up the notifications to notify our users, but how do we know what each user is responsible for so we can notify them accordingly? Well, we can see the roles from by clicking the user types here. I've been there before. So here are the available roles that we have in the system. We already have 4 by default, but apart from the default roles, you can also customize your own roles by clicking the add user type. So basically, we're playing with permissions here. So if I click the learner type here, as I explained before, if I want to remove a permission, for example, the course catalog button, I will simply uncheck this permission, click the save button, and that's it. So from now on, my learners will not be able to access my course catalog. And if you want to follow up on that, on any roles you create or on any adjustments you do on the permissions, instead of logging out and logging in as a different user, we have a cool trick to share with you. So going back into the user list and find a learner, let's go for this user seat here. Just let me check really quick if that user is a branch member. Yes, it is. So I'm gonna remove her, going back into her info. And what I'm looking for is this button, the login to account, that will basically allow me to impersonate the user. So right now I'm logged in as Sasa. I can follow up on the system behavior from her perspective. The course catalog button is not here. So going back with the revert button, I'm back into my account. So this is a quick way for you to follow up on the system behavior from a different perspective. Now, how do we add users? into the system though, since we have set up everything? We have set up the notifications, the user roles. Well, traditionally, we can click the add button and add the users one by one. These are the details that we need to fill in. At this point, we can also assign the user type directly. And here are my custom user fields, so I can also fill in this information. But what if I have a large database? Well, the import functionality is here to save the day, and you can import your users' data within the system and create the accounts by simply using an Excel file. So you can download this Excel file that looks like this. Just let me bring that forward for you. It looks like this. It's a file that has different tabs for the different type of data that we can import in the system, but using the users as a reference. Basically, in these files, you see the columns of the required attributes we need to have to create the accounts. And of course, what we need to do is make sure that the lines will be filled in. Each line stands for a user. And if we also want to import additional information, just make sure that you will create more columns here with the attributes names. Now, once you're done, save your file, drop it here, and click the import button, and that's it. This is how you can save time of importing users, of updating users, and in general of creating more data like branches and courses and groups and whatever is necessary for you. So I think that we're close into another Q&A break. So Theo, I'm going to get some questions for you. So please be prepared. In the meantime, can you please talk about reports?
Yes, I can. And thank you, Eirini, for just giving me a little bit of a break here to share reports. But let's do this. I'm going to make this really quick so we also spend time showcasing the AI and talent crafts. So let me share my screen right here. And I hope you can see. Right. So what can we have about reports? In TalentLMS, you can have lots of different reports as an administrator. And on top of that, you can also see reports as an instructor for the courses that you participate in and as a learner for your progress. But today, we're going to talk about the administrator side of things. So let's click on reports. Now, one thing that we need to get quickly out of the way is how do you see reports? You have user reports, course reports, branch, groups reports. I know somebody asked in the Q&A, I was speaking a little bit before about branch and group reports. So yes, you can have them, you can click them, and that's the activity of the branch, as you see it right here, with the overview, the users, and the courses. And the same thing you can do for the group reports. But at the same time, you have other reports such as SCORM, test, survey, assignment, ILT, for those that asked about live sessions. And all of those reports can be downloaded. So if I go back into the branch reports, for instance, if I go into this one, you can export in Excel, and you have the option to also schedule those reports. So if I click on the drop down here, just click schedule, and you can set an interval of when you want this report to be sent by email and of course to whom. So if I say that that's going to be done every Friday because that's my end of the week, so that's going to be every Friday, select 1 week Friday, every week on Friday. If I click on schedule, that will be sent to myself right here. But I can add custom recipients. So I can add my CEO if I want to. I can add my VP if I want to. So basically, any stakeholder or any colleague you want to receive those, you can put their email addresses there and they can receive the report. Now, if you also want to receive that report on top of those people, also add your email as well. So that way you will be able to just get this report yourself. So long story short, you can share reports and schedule them to run automatically and be sent out. If you put anything in the recipient box and you also want yourself in there, just put yourself in there. If not, and you only want to receive it, don't put anything, just schedule and you will get it. One other type of reports that I would like to share with you, and that will give you a lot of creativity when it comes to reports, is the custom reports. So basically, if I go all the way down to custom reports, I can click it and you can go to add a new reports. For instance, you have the option to create a user example report, and you can set the rules that you would like to apply. So add a rule, for instance, people that do not belong to a branch. So you can even have negative results instead of people who only belong to a branch. And maybe one of my favorites here, people who have not logged in within a period of time. Let's say the last 30 days. So we can follow up with people that might have been left behind a little bit. Of course, you can add more, and then in the output, you can decide what you would like to have right there. Just add your reports and you will see the results. Now, you see, I have a lot of people to follow up if that would be a real report. Again, exports, again, schedule. And on top of that, just for custom reports, you have the option to use mass actions. So you can send a message to all those people, you can deactivate them so they're not having access to your account anymore, add them to groups, to branches, remove them to courses, and so on and so forth. So custom reports are not just a way to see custom data, but also a way to engage in real actions with all of the people that you have shortlisted in that report. Now, let's do this. As Eirini is looking for questions, I'm going to show you very quickly a glimpse of TalentCraft and TalentLMS Plus Beta. There were a lot of questions going around that actually were asking about training that is just interactive and the AI capabilities as well. I'm afraid I don't remember everybody's name, but let's jump right into this. First of all, what is the TalentLMS Plus Beta? The TalentLMS Plus Beta is not a new product, but it is an updated and new version of TalentLMS. And you will see a completely different environment in a moment. But first, let me show you how you activate it. So go onto the account settings. You see at the bottom there, TalentLMS Plus Beta. And all you have to do is just activate it for your portal. And then once you do that, your learners will be able to see immediately the learner interface of the TalentLMS Plus Beta. And on top of that, now admins and instructors will also have access to that. How do you switch, though, from the current interface to the beta one? Go to Try It Now on your profile, and there you have it. Now, I told you it's different, and I really mean it. See how different is the admin dashboard here. So you have, again, all of the options on the left, and you have different widgets that you can use on the right to see the activity of the portal, the timeline, the users, and a quick overview as well. Something new here, you have quick actions that you can perform very easily. Not only that, you can customize those widgets. So if I want to edit, for instance, maybe I don't want to see the users right now. So I can remove it. Or I don't want to see the timeline. I can always remove it as well. So if you apply now and just save and finish to make sure that that's what you're after, this is now my fully custom admin dashboard. But let's go into TalentCraft. If I go as an admin or as an instructor here, I can create courses both ways. So that's something new. If I get to the courses and just go to add a course, I can give it a name right here. So I can call it Theo's course. I know today I'm not getting creative with the names, right? And on the bottom left, you can add, and you can always add the standard content that you already are used to, like typical content, text, for instance, video, audio presentations, and so on. But TalentCraft, here we go. So with TalentCraft, you have the option to create a course from scratch. So nothing will be available, and you can start building each section of that specific unit. Or you can generate an entire unit using AI, or you can just start with a template, which is what I would like to do. I think somebody asked for templates, I think, in the question. So consider checking those out. What we'll do is perhaps, let's say, cybersecurity. This is something that we have been asked a lot, and that's why we have created a dedicated template for that. So select cybersecurity here. What you see now is a very different interface, isn't it? So you see bigger images, you see different texts, and of course, you see different formats. So apart from lists or images or videos, now you have this type of content, which is called a process. And of course, you can switch from there and you can add more. Or for instance, you can have flashcards, which you can use right away, and then you can move to the next one. But of course, all of that different type of content is something that you can edit and create, and that is a test. So that is actually a question, not a test. But if we go to the flashcards, for instance, you can either just go here and create new ones, or you can hover, and instead of a stack, have it as a grid. And again, that would be what the case is here. Or if you want to go further up here, that is called a process. And if you want, you can go ahead and look and reorder your steps. And of course, you can add media and images. And at the end, you have the option as well to start again and review your steps. Not only that, if you want to create something new, just go to the AI. And let's say that we will create tabs now. So create tabs, another type of content here, which we can say create tabs about how to create safe passwords, and just start create. What you will see is that at the very end of the page, the AI will start creating the tabs. And actually, it's almost done right here. You see that it's still processing, but we have so much information already. You can add images. Why not? Just go to add one. And either you can add from the images you already have in your library, or from stock images, or create one with AI. Either find one that has been created before, or just go to create an image and say here, just create a tablet maybe, and then just start creating. Now, this is going to be like a Bob Ross moment where we start getting different strokes, and then we will have the end result of the image. But I know that's not what you came up for, so we will see the image at the moment. But the tabs here is where you can click and select different tabs to see the content. It can also be as an accordion, which in this case works better because you have longer titles right here on the top. And at these points, you can always delete, or you can always just reveal and edit any of that content. But where does the AI stop? Well, there's a little bit more that you can do. Let's go on the way to the top. You see right here that we have, at this point, quite a long text. So if I want, I can hover this one, and I can click on the AI, and I can improve the writing, or continue the sentence, or fix my spelling and grammar, longer, shorter, create a question just from that section as well, or even change the tone and make it in different styles. Somebody again asked about translation, and I'm not quite sure about what the question was, so my apologies for that. But I know that in my mind, the answer that clicked was, let's talk about AI in translation. So when you have highlighted that text, translate, and I can do it in Spanish, and it will write it in Spanish. So what does that give you? It gives you courses that you can create with the assistance of the AI. So that way you will be able to not invest a lot of hours in a dedicated person to create your courses. It's a good idea to have them check it up, but you can allocate your resources into different projects instead of taking resources and dedicating them only to translation, only to course creation. And of course, that will save you a lot of time as well. I understand that there's a lot of questions, and I'm ready to go into the Q&A right here. So I remember that Jordan was asking, is there a way to make interactive content for your trainees? I think that could be a good solution. And I'm going to show you something different as well, Jordan. There is, let's go all the way to the end because that's where it's going to go. We have at some point here, one of the option, which is called a label graphic. This was the one. So click on it. And of course, you can select an image here, and you can select one even from your library if you have added one, which I have. And that is, let's say, the TalentLMS dashboard. You've seen it before in my portal, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to add pointers with information. So double click on categories. So you see there is a plus icon here that I can drag and drop anywhere. I'm going to put it next. So click on that and say, for example, what it is, and that is adds labels, for instance, for courses. It doesn't really do that. It creates categories for the catalog, but you wouldn't want me to wait to write that, right? And then you can do the same for Events Engine. Just double click here, and then, of course, you can do the same. So your learners, if I go in preview, Of course, you can always just go ahead and continue. And you see, there's also a way to divide these units in subsections, so you can reveal contents as you go. But if I go all the way to the end in my labeled graphic here, I have to complete the content before. Okay, let's take it again. You see, I am a victim of my own settings here, but of course, this is something that your learners will also have to do, so they have to get it right so that way they can complete. And at this point, I don't see my label graphic here, but don't worry, I'm on a test account here, so people are pushing buttons as we speak. So if I go back to edits and go all the way down, you will be able to see that I can click and then I can reveal my options. Again, this is in TalentLMS Plus Beta. This is Talentcraft, and we welcome you to share it and try a couple of things, try pushing buttons, and you will see how much content you can deliver in different ways. There's another question as well about having a session on how to use the beta in other languages. Hank, that's a great question. I'm going to keep it in mind for our future webinars, but there is already a webinar about TalentLMS Plus Beta, including Talentcraft, which I can definitely share with you afterwards. I can see Nick already answering questions. Brilliant. And one more from Hank. If you convert courses into Spanish in the program, do they have to be entered in Spanish? If you're going to do it with AI here in Talentcraft, you just translate them exactly as I showed you, highlight the text, and then it translates. But of course, if it is in TalentLMS as we know it in the legacy version, then you would have to write the content. One final one from Richard. Would you recommend using beta with actual users yet? When might become unbeta? Well, that's a good question. I can definitely tell you in 2024, but I don't have a specific date for you now. I would suggest yes. Try it with learners and see what features learners want to use and see how the features respond right now, because we keep adding features all the time, because our goal is to transfer all of the features that you have now in TalentLMS into the beta. And of course, once we get beyond that stage, we will keep improving and adding more. One thing though that I want to share with you is that it still works, Talentcraft, it still works with the current TalentLMS version. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to go back and leave the beta version and go to my good old TalentLMS. And if I go as a learner, you see here I have a Talentcraft unit that I have created before, which looks much better than what I've done for you today. So if I go to resume the course, you see I'm in my, let's say, current, right? In my older version of TalentLMS. So here it works brilliantly. So there is no issue at all if you want to create a course in TalentLMS Plus Beta in Talentcraft and then switch back to your TalentLMS version as it is now, and still people will be able to see your Talentcraft content. Now, I know that there has been a lot of content that we can still keep on covering, but I want to respect your time. So if you have more questions, please send us an email at success@talentlms.com, and we will really do our best to help you find success with TalentLMS. You can follow our webinar page, talentlms.com/webinars, and this is where you can see all of our upcoming sessions. Especially in March, we're hosting a masterclass about course settings in 2 parts. So I hope to see you there as well. And at the end, feel free to, again, send us any questions and share with us your feedback in the feedback survey that you will see on the chat right now. And when you close your window, you will still be able to use the survey as well. So feel free to let us know anything that you would like us to improve and what you loved about the webinars as well. Thank you, Eirini, for being here with me today.
Thank you, Theo, and thank you all for joining with us.
And we hope to see you next time. Till then, happy training, everybody. Bye-bye.